Hi, hello, my name is Tate, and today I'm going to be doing the mixed bag book tag, or maybe just the mixed bag tag. This was originally by Jessica Nicole Dickerson, aka JND, whose stuff I will leave in the description. They are very wonderful. Basically, this is a tag just kind of about diversity in books, I guess, just about finding ourselves in books and showing that no matter how different we might be, those differences can bring us together, and that it is good to be different, but we can still band together, I guess. Does that make sense? Okay, so there's a list of 10 or 11 questions, and I'm just going to go through all of them one by one, just talk. You guys know how tags are. Let's just get into it. The first question is, who are you? This is just supposed to be maybe an introduction, giving different facets of your personality and who you are, instead of just being like, oh, I'm gay, oh, I'm queer, oh, I'm black, something like that. So, hi, I'm Tate. I am queer. I am biromantic asexual. I've got my little bi thing over there. I've got my ace flag. Oh, maybe I can actually pull it up. Got my ace flag chilling. I've got my bi flag somewhere around. So I'm pretty proud of that part of myself, obviously. I also am someone who has mental health diagnoses. I have anxiety and depression, but I am also a big writer. I am a music therapist major, and I also have math and ASL minors. I'm a musician, I'm a dog lover, I'm a woman. Yeah. Hi. Clearly I'm also a booktuber. Question 2 is, when was the first time you saw yourself in a book? And this doesn't have to be necessarily like the first time you saw this facet of your identity specifically in a book. It can just be when you saw yourself as a person. I have two kind of answers for this because I think it depends on how I look at it. The first time for me just seeing myself in a book and just feeling known, I guess, was the Percy Jackson series by Rick Riordan. There are a lot of characters in this book that I always relate to. I always really connected to Annabeth because Annabeth just, was a strong girl, but who could also be emotional, who could be independent but also needed other people, who was a nerd but that didn't stop her from being a strong person. I don't know. This series just always is going to be one of my favorites, just because not only is it just a wonderful series in other ways, but I think that was one of the first times where I saw myself in a book and saying that being nerdy was okay. And also, I think in a little bit with Percy, that I saw someone who could be sarcastic and loud and to some people kind of annoying, but could still be so loyal and so loved and could do so many great things that you don't have to be serious to be, to be a hero, to be important. I don't know. I just always saw myself in this book. And the other book is the one that was the first time that I kind of saw myself as a queer woman for the first time, and that is Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda by Becky Albertalli. Oh god, tears are in the back of my eyes. We're not going to do that today. This was, I think, the first book I ever read that had a queer main character. I think the first book that I read that had like a queer character was House of Hades by Rick Riordan, which has a gay character, but at the time I did not realize that I was queer, so I didn't see myself in it. So this was the first book that, as a queer person, knowing they were queer and having accepted they were queer, that I read it. And it was a lot. I will admit that I did see the movie before I saw the book, but honestly, I love them equally. And I did cry at that movie. I saw the movie 3 times, twice in one day, and every single time I cried, especially at that one scene when he's talking to his mom, and she was just saying, like, oh, just all the stuff she's talking to. And then when he was talking to, when he yells at Martin and is like, that was supposed to be my story, get the fuck away from me, like, you took that away from me. Every time I've cried. But I don't know, just seeing someone knowing who they are but still like hiding it from their family and friends, feeling so afraid that people who they expect will still love them, worrying that they're not going to love them anymore, that they're going to see them differently, and the experience of being outed was close-hitting, we will say, for me. But yeah, I think this was one of those books where I just found that, like, other people went their struggles that I did, but also that there was nothing wrong with being queer, and that there was hope, and that I could still be happy. Yeah. I'm not gonna cry I just really love this book. Thanks. The next book is, what is a book that you love that was set in a different country or written by an author who lives in a different country? I have two for this, I guess. The first one is one that I read pretty recently. It's one that I really enjoyed, and it wasn't necessarily like a favorite, but I just think it's a really good one to check out, and that is 1,000 Beginning and Endings, edited by Elsie Chapman and Ellen O. This is a collection of short stories by Asian authors. A lot of them are drawing on their own culture's folklore and making stories out of them, whether they're set in the past or the present or the future. Some of them are contemporary, some are fantasy, some are sci-fi. Just lots of different stories, and I really enjoyed seeing, how vast and wide all of this folklore and all of these stories went. It was just a really good book. And the other book I want to talk about with this question was What the Moon Saw by Laura Risa. This book, if you don't know, which you probably don't, not a lot of people know this book, is about this girl, what is her name? Clara. This is about a girl named Clara whose grandparents, whom she's never met, live in Oaxaca, Mexico, and she goes and lives with them for a summer and learns a lot about herself. There's a lot of magical realism in this book. I think it was just a very nice middle grade YA. I'm not sure quite where it fits. I think it's a little more middle grade, but it was just really nice to see it set in a smaller town, to get to see some stuff in history from her grandmother's perspective and then from her perspective, and getting magical realism elements and seeing about identity, being Mexican American but not really have ever been to Mexico, seeing how she tried to fit in, living in a place that some would call like her birthright but that she's never been to. I don't know, I just really enjoyed it. I think if you want to pick this up, please do. Hell yeah. Okay, question number 4 is, what is an underrated diverse book that you want everyone to read? This ain't even a question. Hi, my name is Tate, and from this point on, I will probably never shut up about this series now that I've mentioned it once. If you don't know about the series, which you probably don't, and you haven't seen my other video or videos, depending on when this goes up, about the series, basically, killer mermaids, women warriors, almost entire female cast, childhood friends to enemies to lovers trope, cool psychological change of what happens when you put a bunch of girls on a boat and tell them they might die, queer, people of color. I just really love this book. It has the main character, Mila, is a woman of color. There's also a female-female romance. But yeah, I will talk about this more probably for the rest of my life. But please try to go find it and read it. Please, I am a one-woman hype squad for Tiana Warner because no one else will do it. But get it! And also, the covers, you can't tell obviously, but like the covers are that kind of like nice texture that feels like soft without being plasticky. I can't describe it, but like I just want to like rub my face against these. That's totally off topic. Let's move on. Oh, and by the way, it's a trilogy. Ice Massacre, Ice Crypt, and Ice Kingdom. Thank you. 2 more good books for you. Number 5 is, what is a book that you have read with great LGBTQ rap? I'm gonna be real with you. I had a long list that I had to narrow down because I've been reading a lot of queer books lately, and probably by the end of June I will have a lot more that I will want to be on this list. But I'm just gonna talk about 2. I'm just gonna breathe and only talk about 2. The first is Stockholm Girls by Claire Legrand. I think that it has really, really good LGBT rep. It has an asexual black main character. It also has 2 other female characters that are woman love woman queer, and it has a female romance that is not like over sexualized or anything. It has a lot of rep that I don't think people realize, and it also has just a lot of girl power in it, and I just really like it. Thanks, go read it. The other one is one of the other books that I will never shut up about, and that's Radio Silence by Alice Oseman. This one I also really love because this has a bisexual main character. It has a gay side character who's like fairly important to the plot, and then the second most main character is demisexual. But I think also the really nice thing about this book is that it has those identities, but it also is more accessible for people who might be aro or ace who aren't good with reading romance or sex heavy books, because it is basically romance-less, which some people might be like, oh, that's not very good rep, but like, you still see their identities, they're still important, you still see, you know, them being attracted to people, but you're able to focus on other topics while also getting that rep, which I really enjoyed seeing. And I just really love this book. Okay, go read it. Question number 7 is, what kind of representation would you like to see more in books? A lot. I know there's a lot of racial stuff that we could still get better at. I know that I have seen a lot of people who are maybe like biracial, that they haven't seen their own identity, or that there's not a lot of their specific culture, and so all of those I want to see more of, but I don't know specifics, I guess. But I think 2 specific ones for me, especially as a queer person, that I would like to see more of, first of all, is getting more aro and ace rep. We are starting to get a little bit more, but especially aromantic we don't have very much of. I just want to see more of it. I want to be able to see myself in ace characters. I want other ace and other aro people to be able to see themselves, and all across the spectrum, because there's a huge spectrum. I want to be able to see ace people having sex. I want to see ace people who can sometimes have sex. I want to see demisexual people. I want to see people who are exploring their asexuality. I want to see aromantic people who are trying to figure out if they like people or not, experimenting, aromantic people who do date. Like, I just want to see the whole spectrum, because there's so much we can see. And the other thing is one that's not necessarily part of my identity, but that I just really want to see more of, and that's more things with genderqueer rep. I know that I haven't seen very much with just genderqueer rep in general. I've found very few like non-binary books. I haven't seen very many gender fluid books. We are getting more trans rep, like female to male, male to female, that kind of thing, but I haven't seen as much of those kind of in-betweens of the giant trans and genderqueer spectrum, and I just really want to see more of that, both just because I want to see more of it to kind of educate myself and to see, you know, to see those identities that I don't have and to get to learn more from them, and also just because I have friends and I know lots of people who have these identities, and I know how much it meant to me when I saw myself in a book for being queer, and I just want other people to be able to see themselves and have that moment. Yeah, I'm starting to tear up again. We need to keep going. Number 8 is, what is your favorite diverse read ever? Oh, fuck. You can't do that to me. Like, most of my favorite books are diverse books. Like, that doesn't... Damn it. Okay, I've already mentioned Simon versus Homo Sapien Gender, and I've already mentioned Radio Silence, so those are implied. So I'm going to say that one of my favorite ones of all time, I don't know if it's my favorite diverse book of all time, but I think it's a very, very good one, and one of my favorites of all time is Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe by Benjamin O'Leary Sands. If you don't know, this book has a Mexican-American boy as the main character. It also has a biracial, half Mexican main character. It also has gay rep, and it just tackles a lot of really tough and really important topics. And I think this is one that I could have theoretically put in, like, what's a book you saw yourself in. It wasn't the first time I saw myself, but I think Aristotle, was one of, like, those characters that just hit me so hard that, like, because, okay, this is, like, kind of off topic, but I remember when I finished reading Aristotle and Dante, I just laid in bed and I just cried. Like, I wasn't even sad, I just felt so seen, and I felt like, even though I couldn't relate to Ari on everything, because I'm not I'm not Mexican-American, I'm white, just seeing inside of Ari's head and seeing how Ari felt about the world was just so me in so many ways that I hadn't seen expressed like that, and that openly and rawly, that I did a lot of crying in that book. So I'm just gonna say that one, even though I have lots and I can never make decisions. Number 9 is, what is a diverse book you're really excited about that's coming out soon? Again, I can't make decisions, so I'm talking about like 4 or 5 of them just really fast. First is Daughters of Nri by Reni K. Amayo, I think is how you say their name. I don't know a lot about this book, except I think it's about 2 girls who are goddesses who are separated at birth, or something like that. Separated, like they're taken away from their birthright, and it's them trying to find each other again and gain their power back or something like that. I don't know, but the cover is fucking gorgeous. It is transcendent. It is so beautiful. And I just personally think it's beautiful, but it just makes me so happy thinking of all the dark-skinned girls who can like look at this cover and be like, that's me on that cover. Like, that girl looks like me, and they're looking fucking badass and beautiful. Oh, I'm so excited. There's also Kingdom of Souls by Rena Barron. I think it's got a lot to do with like witch doctors and fantasy, and that the main character, I think, gives up a little bit of their soul or something to get magic, something like that. It sounds really cool. The next book is Gideon the Ninth by Tamsin Muir, I think. I don't know. This is a book that Rhiannon from Crescent Moon Reads has not been shutting up about lately. Apparently it's got lesbian necromancers and lots of witchery and like assassins and stuff, and like, love that for me. Really want to read it. The last book is Cruisewort by Nina Varela. This apparently, I don't know a lot about it except I know that it's I know that it's fantasy. I know that it's got female romance, and I know that it's like hate to lovers within the female romance. Oh, I'm hyped. Also, I just love Nina on Twitter. Absolute riot. So yeah, there's some books that you can add to your TBR and check out, because I'm really excited about them. Ooh, I'm gonna have to reclothe on the come up. I'm gonna have to make you put on clothes, my friend. Question number 10 is, what diverse book are you reading right now? And as I'm filming this, obviously it probably won't be the same as when I upload it. That is On the Come Up by Angie Thomas. If you don't know what this book is about, it's basically about this girl named Brie who is wanting to become a rapper, but then Brie has to deal with, you know, a lot of the stigmas around rapping, both like the misogyny, but also the how people will label rappers as thugs or hoodlums or things like that, and having to kind of act that way in order to make it big and to be able to make the money to help support her family and to get the fame and the recognition and the things that she wanted. I'm really enjoying it so far. I'm like a quarter of the way through, I think. I'm on page 130 out of like 447, I think. I'm really enjoying it so far. I absolutely adored The Hate You Give, which is right there. So I'm really happy that I'm also enjoying this book. So good, so good. You can really tell that this book needed to be written by a Black author because it just shines through how own voices it is. Okay, and the last question, the last question, which is question number 11, is just to tag some people. So I'm tagging 4 people. Yes, 4 people. And I'm kind of scared to tag 2 of these people because they have a lot more followers than I do, and like, I know I talk to them sometimes, but like, I'm scared. But I'm tagging Boston from Boston Reads Books. I'm tagging Rhiannon from Crescent Moon Reads. I'm tagging Yara Abo from, I think, just Yara Abo. And I'm tagging Books in Discourse. So yeah, if you guys don't want to do it, you don't have to. I just thought of you when I was making this, and I thought I would tag you because I think you all would have really cool and interesting things to say, and I'd be excited to see what kind of book recommendations you have. So yeah, and if I didn't tag you but you want to do it, you tagged. Go do this tag. It's a really good one. I always love seeing tags that talk more about diversity, and talk about, you know, let us get into our personal selves and get into not necessarily the nitty and gritty, but to get into more of what we don't always maybe see, or get into more of our journey as readers and as people. Yeah, I'm gonna stop waxing poetic now and head out, but if you liked this video or even just my rainbow shirt, then click the like button. If you want to subscribe, please do that. You can also click the notification bell to get more notifications about my videos. Please comment down below if you're reading these books, if you want to answer any of the questions down below, or just talk to me about stuff. I would absolutely love to talk to you guys. You can also find me on other social media, especially Twitter, but you can see that in the description or in the end screen, outro, whatever you call it. And yeah, thanks so much for watching. It really means a lot that people watch my videos. It's really weird still that anyone watches these, but yeah. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye-bye!